This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Poverty should be a secondary concern to the degradation of the environment, panel of judges. As the negative team, in tonight's debate, we are looking at poverty as the primary concern of environmental degradation. To ask the affirmative team, can anyone lack knowledge about something?
Yes.
Can the poor degrade the environment?
No.
Can the rich degrade the environment?
No.
Panel of judges, they tell us that poverty is being extremely poor, and we are asking them, can the poor degrade the environment? They are telling us no. Panel of judges, take note of that contradiction. We ask them, do they believe that anyone can lack knowledge about something? They say yes. And that's why we are, as the negative team, we are telling them that poverty, in our case, we are looking at mindset poverty, how your mind is set in conservation of the environment. And we are looking at mindset poverty as ignorance and lack of knowledge of how and about doing something, panel of judges. One more question, another question to the negative team. If not poverty as the primary concern of environmental degradation, what's the primary concern of environmental degradation?
Understand the motion, please.
What's the primary concern of environmental degradation?
Motion, please.
What's the primary? They have no solution. They have no reason as to why to say that poverty is actually not the primary concern of environmental degradation. That's why they failed to answer our question as to why we are asking them that what's the major or primary concern of environmental degradation. Here, they told us about population. We are coming to tell them that it's because that population has a poor mindset on how to concern their environment. And that's why we are going to environmental degradation. Panel of judges. Then we clearly define to them what, you can have your seat. We clearly define to them what poverty is in our world. And we clearly told them how it is being a primary concern to the environment, panel of judges. We asked them that, can the rich degrade the environment? They said, no. Can the poor degrade the environment? No. Panel of judges, it's not all about the money you have, it's about your mindset. Even the rich carry out industrialization to put up industries. That's environmental degradation. Even the poor, because they lack knowledge about how best to satisfy the needs, they'll now go for charcoal burning. That's why we are saying that poverty should be a primary concern for environmental degradation. Panel of judges, as the affirmative team, we clearly defined what poverty is in our lanes. Panel of judges, they did not give us what in their world, they did not tell us what's the primary concern of environmental degradation. That's why they failed to answer in tonight's debate. Panel of judges, we've noticed a lot of contradictions in their case, and we asked them, do they believe that one can lack anything? They said yes. And this is why we are telling you that in tonight's debate, the people who are causing environmental degradation lack knowledge about how to concern their environment, and that is why they are degrading their environment. To clarify a little bit more to the affirmers in tonight's panel of judges, as the affirmative team, we still believe that your mindset is what can make you degrade the environment. Thank you.
Closed-ended questions are what I hold. A yes or a no is what I want. Is a policy motion characterized by the word should?
Pardon?
Is a policy motion characterized by the word should?
Pardon?
Pano. Is a policy motion characterized by the word should?
It depends.
Pano. In this motion, do we have the word should? Yes or a no? If so, my question shall still stand. Did your first speaker say that our side takes this motion to be a policy motion while it isn't?
Pardon?
Pano, I hope you can witness. Pano, let's go back to the case. I would like to know, do you think people shall be able to live in a degraded environment after 30 years?
Pardon?
Pano, I'm audible enough. Do you think people shall be able to live in a degraded environment after 30 years?
And that's why we are
Pano, yes or no?
sensitizing them about
So,
mindset
Pano.
poverty.
So, panel, I'm asking another question. Do a garden and an industry, which one provides room for eradication of poverty?
Pardon?
A garden and an industry, which one provides a room for eradication of poverty in Uganda?
Eradication of poverty, it's because people
Pano,
have a poor mindset. And if we clear this,
I need an
environmental
answer.
degradation
Pano,
will not be there.
I'm asking my second last question. Has the Uganda, the government, did we say in our work plan that we have set 4 years for sensitization in our work plan?
In your third speech, you say
So
that
Pano,
sensitization is not effective.
So Pano, I'm asking, did we say it yes or a no in our work plan? Yes or a no?
Yes.
Thank you. You may take your seat. So Pano, as we're beginning this debate, among one of the characteristics of a policy motion, we have, one of the words we have should. So, but Pano, I would like you to note one of their speakers, that was the first speaker. He characterized this motion and said that the affirmers, which is my side, we are taking it to be a policy motion, while it isn't, just because of the word concerned. So, Pano, I really think you can look into that matter. I asked them, do you think, this question was also asked in a POI, do you think people shall be able to live in a degraded environment after 30 years? Pano, they failed to answer that question. But they know that it is a critical question in reality. So, Pano, let me try to elaborate more. In a degraded environment, I'll give an example of an industry. An industry which releases chemicals. When these chemicals mix within water, it means the water shall be polluted. So when the water is polluted, that means we are suffering. The people shall not get water to drink. What is the result of that? Because we know that water is life. So how can you tell me that after 30 years we shall have people living in a degraded environment? It means the population that we have shall have decreased. So Pano, I asked them, did we say in our plan that we have 40 years of sensitization? 4 years of sensitization. They failed to do that. But Pano, we elaborated this more because they think the sensitization that has been done by the government, it has not been just a concern, it has been a by the way. But now in our work plan, in order to implement what we are saying in this motion, we are saying that we are going to provide 4 years of sensitizing the masses in order to make them know of the effects of degrading the environment. Dear judges, allow me rest my case.
I'll begin my judgment. So, Team Affirmative, you came up and gave us your case. The biggest, to simplify everything. Team Affirmative, you came up and gave us your case. And you said, rather than us, in simple terms, rather than us having poverty as a concern, we should have what? The environment as a bigger concern over poverty. Team Affirmative, you even mentioned that no, poverty is a short-term problem compared to what? To the degradation of the environment. Now, the biggest issue we've had in this entire debate was the interpretation of the resolution. What did the resolution require? Poverty should be a secondary concern to the degradation of the environment. Team Affirmative, your role was to show us why we should actually have the environment as our biggest problem rather than what? Poverty. Team Negative, what you were supposed to do was to inform the August House, why should we cater for the problems of poverty rather than those of environmental degradation? In simple terms, this is the resolution. Environment should be prioritized over poverty. That was the resolution. Team Negative, you totally misunderstood the entire resolution. Your entire case was confused. You came up here and you told us that what you debated was the biggest concern of environmental degradation is poverty. What you debated was the biggest problem affecting the environment is poverty. What you should have debated, which would have been on the same level as Team Affirmative, was why we should cater for the problems of environmental degradation over those of poverty.
Thank you so much. To begin with, I want to begin by appreciating both teams for the debate. However, it was not really what we expected of you, realistically. Now, I will just talk about one thing. Today's resolution, Team Affirmative argued that it is a policy resolution. Team Negative argued that it was a value resolution. Ladies and gentlemen, let me put it clear. There are certain resolutions that you will ever find, like this one, that a team can argue that it's a policy and it wins. Another team can argue that it's value and it wins. The team that is able to prove why they call it a specific type is the team that wins at the end of the day. For example, Team Affirmative could argue in the area of policy, that they are going to implement or they are advocating for implementation of environmental policies at the expense of poverty. Team Negative would also argue in an angle of value in a way that we are looking, we are comparing, we have this one at the expense of another. So it will be an argument of eradication of poverty at the expense of environmental conservation. That is what just through the margin of today's debate. Meaning, the team that was able to argue in its own case, yes, if you're calling it policy, have you been able to establish why it is a policy? Okay, now after understanding it's a policy, have you been able to break down the requirements of a policy? Same the other side, if it is value, are you able to establish why it is a value debate? Then have you given the alternative? So today's debate was just easy, as Judge Doreen said, to judge for the judges because one team just failed on interpretation. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever you are given a resolution before you, take time, before you even begin making research, take time to appreciate the subject matter and the meaning of that resolution.
Thank you so much for a spirited round of debate. My comments are going to be succinct and precise. Number one, it is very hard for us to have a very informative and argumentative debate when both of you are on different planes of discussion. When one side decides to interpret the resolution differently, which was a bit erroneous, and another side interprets the resolution rightly, and that was Team Affirmative. Team Affirmative interprets the resolution rightly by saying this resolution essentially discusses a trade-off between whether environmental conservation should trump maybe the fight against poverty. And Team Negative comes with a different interpretation. However, you see so much the waters being muddied that Team Affirmative also gets confused towards the closure of the speech. And they begin talking about, okay, no, it should not be poverty, but rather overpopulation that should be looked at as almost the major cause of environmental degradation. The debate became muddied after that. But as my fellow judge has said, it was a very easy debate to judge. I will speak to you about the difference between policy and value debates. It is possible for some debates to be both policy and value. The onus is on Team Affirmative to interpret that resolution in whatsoever way. But it also does not mean that every resolution that has the word should is a policy debate. For example, if there is a resolution that says this House should advocate for raising of secondary school tuition, that is a different policy resolution. And then another resolution says education should not be for children below the age of 12. It's purely a value debate. So should does not always indicate a policy or value debate. The resolution tonight implied that there is a conflict between addressing poverty and preserving the environment, and that debaters have to weigh the benefits and harms of prioritizing one thing over the other.
Now, when the first negative came and actually defined the key terms in this resolution, and I had their definition of what they regarded as poverty, I was actually really impressed
I knew this was going to be a very rich what? Debate. Are we together? Now the problem came in after you had defined and you started now laying down what you people built as your case as regards to what you digested from this resolution. Now, personally, even after the end of this debate, by virtue of how you people dwelt on your understanding of the resolution so much, I had to revisit it and ask myself why that was your interpretation of it. This is what the resolution was saying. Poverty should be a secondary concern to degradation of the environment. Now, by virtue of us putting the word concern there, both of the issues we're having in that resolution are concerns altogether. But we are looking for which of these takes precedence over the other. Are we together? So if I say poverty should come first in case I'm addressing anything, let's take a case. You have resources and you're trying to address. The question is, if these resources are limited, do I first address the issue of poverty or do I first address the issue of environmental degradation? Are we together? That was the line of thinking I expected you to take, at least by just reading this resolution. So, that alone made it very easy for the affirmative team. Are we together? In that, you let them off easily. Even where their content was not deep, we cannot penalize them for that. Because you have already misunderstood the resolution. As a matter of fact, your presentation and theirs were of two different cases. Are we together? So for that, we had to penalize you.
All of you guys, you have performed all your roles very well and very good. But now the issue just comes on a scenario where you find one of the schools has done things which are not in tandem to what we are expecting and what their public opinion expects. Trust me, our hands become tied. Are we together, team negative? So next time you come on stage, it's not hard to ask. These judges are ever here. They can ask. You can it's not that it's going to steal for you, Kasasi, no. Just ask and be like, how do I approach? I know it's not good to give an approach, but it's not hard to even ask a different school so that we don't have such a kind of a thing again. Since my judges have told you what you're supposed to do, I will not re-echo, but read the final tally. With me, I gave team affirmative a 56. Let me just do it in this. I gave them a 56. I gave team negators a 54. Adding up to a 60.4% out of the 5 judges to team affirmative and a 56% to team negators. Are we together? And as of this, the team affirmative, having brought the issue the way we want, the way the public opinion wanted, they take the day. It's a unanimous judgment. Thank you so much. God bless you.